This is the fifth and final video in my series on the LA-15 scale race. We'll see a bit of test flying and then our first contest. I like to catch the plane by the nose when pitting, but the front is quite pointy. I hold extra padding in my glove so my hand doesn't get bruised. Chris came to help test fly the racers, and he brought his weed whacker for the dandelions. We brought stunters with us too so we could practice for the upcoming Toronto and District Championships. The first flight didn't go very far, and I don't know why the engine quit. It wasn't the fuel shut off, and it didn't happen again. This flight was a success. The shoestring flew 7 laps in 24.2 seconds for a speed of 66.9 miles per hour. These racers glide like bricks. You get between a half and 3/4 of a lap. I rig my racers so that the control lines are interchangeable between them for convenience. The Buster flew 7 laps in 23.4 seconds for a speed of 69.2 miles per hour, just a little faster than the shoestring. We test flew the planes another day and found the outboard leg of the Buster's gear was landing first, causing the plane to ground loop into the circle. Also, the tail skid broke off. I was able to modify the Buster gear without completely replacing it. It is similar to the shoestring, but the shorter outboard leg causes the plane to sit with its right wing slightly down. The fuselage is so thin that no amount of fiberglass can stop the tail skid from breaking off. I reinforced the damaged area with basswood and contoured a tail skid to fit against the fuselage. This prevents the landing forces from gaining any leverage on the tail. I fixed both racers because the shoestring is no better than the Buster in its tail skid. Five planes came to the race: my Buster, my shoestring, Dwayne's shoestring, Len's Buster, and Naomi's Buster. Each entrant drew one of these chits from the bag and were given the corresponding engine. This worked out well, and they didn't take long to install. See if you can follow this. We were short participants, so we made up teams on the fly, pun intended. In other racing, Len usually flies for me and I pit for Len, but now that Naomi flies, Len pits for her. To reduce the conflict, Len withdrew his entry so he could pit for Naomi's Buster and fly for my Buster. Stu didn't have his shoestring ready yet, so I loaned him mine for his entry and agreed to pit it. Dwayne wanted a pitman for his shoestring. Chris didn't have his Buster ready, so he couldn't fly his own entry, but he's left-handed, so he couldn't pit for Dwayne either. Stu doesn't like to pit, so Stu ended up flying for Dwayne. I can't figure out now why Chris didn't fly for Dwayne. Naomi twisted her foot in the first heat, so Chris flew for her after that. Naomi, Stu, and I made the final, but since I already had a plane in the final, Stu withdrew his entry and Dwayne made the final. Since Len couldn't fly for me while pitting for Chris flying for Naomi, and Stu couldn't fly for me while flying for Dwayne, Keith came to my rescue and flew my Buster in the final. We had excellent weather at the Toronto and District Championships for our first ever LA-15 scale race. We flew combat on the grass all day. Before the race started, the paved circle held profile scale and fun scale events.
You're released when John says go.
Giddy up, go.
He'll give you the 120, the 60, and the 10.
Okay.
Okay? Now you got to be careful. When you're landing, your feet are going to be on the grass. And you see the white mark? You want to land just inside the line, and the model would be pitted outside the line. Now the big thing here is safety. So if you land right behind somebody, go back. You don't have to necessarily go back the whole way to the next segment, but move back as safe
so that everybody has room.
off.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
Give room.
Give
okay.
room.
second.
And so starts the first LA-15 scale race for the Balsa Beavers.
Sorry to make you do all that running, Mr. Doug.
Wow, it's good enough for first place.
Who's that? You?
Yeah,
Yeah, well done.
I think so.
Third place, Naomi and Lynn.
Oh, you're going to do great at Brodak racing, I can see it.
Trophy at hand. Look at that. She can roll it. Okay, keep going. Wipe out of the fine. Good job.
Dwayne and Stu.
Oh, yay!
If that really bothers you,
Yes,
Rob,
yes,
Good first place.
Yeah, nice to see you, Rick. Hopefully tomorrow they won't be complete.
We have Doug and Peg Leg Morgan.
Morgan. Just brought in a wing
Go by his friends. That's the crusher.
After the contest, some of us went to dinner at Peter's on Eglinton. My Buster caught fire twice while pitting. When I sprayed the engine with fuel to cool it down, the fuel ignited and scorched the bottom of the plane. It also melted the elastics off the fuel tank caddy. It's a good thing I have the zip tied there for added security. Somewhere along the way, the stabilizer got broken, so I have a bit of fixing to do before the next race. Overall, the race was a success. The engines performed consistently and gave no one competitor an unfair advantage. We each had our issues. Stu had a broken prop, Naomi twisted her ankle, Dwayne had shutoff difficulties, and my Buster caught fire twice. But it was a fun day and a close race.